come back for me, and I'm not ready to go. Nobody's fault but mine. If I die, my soul belongs. Nobody's fault but mine. But I got one more verse. When the Savior cracks the sky within a twinkling of an eye, and I'm not prepared to take that ride, there's nobody's fault but mine. I got one more thing. So when my Jesus, when he called my name, and I'm not ready to answer, it's nobody's fault but mine. If I die, and my soul belongs. If I die, and my soul belongs. That's why every day I'm trying to get closer to him, because I want to be ready. Gotta be ready. Be ready. Said I want to be ready. Gotta be ready. I don't want my living. Don't want my living being ready. Wanna be ready. I wanna be ready. Said I don't wanna be left out here with my work undone. Wanna be ready. I gotta be ready. This is what I'm doing. Said I'm making preparations, and I've already made my reservations. I've gotta go there. I've gotta go there. Fellas, let me drink it now. And I've already made my reservations. I gotta go there. I've gotta go there. Said I wanna see my Jesus. The man that died for me. I've gotta go there. I've gotta go there. For Jesus said he was going away to prepare a place for me.
Just a couple days into this new year, I want to share with you from 1 Peter chapter 5. We'll read verses 8, 9, and 10. And you'll find that it reads as follows. Be sober. Peter is writing, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion does, he's walking about, seeking whom he may devour or destroy. Resist him steadfastly in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions that are accomplished in you, accomplished in your brothers that are in the world. But the God of all grace, verse 10, but the God of all grace, who has called us unto his eternal glory by Christ Jesus, after you have suffered a while, he'll make you perfect. He'll establish you. He'll strengthen you. And he'll settle you. After you have suffered a while, the God who has called us into his eternal glory by Jesus Christ will, through his grace, strengthen you, establish you, perfect you, and ultimately settle you. I want to talk to you for just a little while this morning about putting in the work. I want to talk to you about putting in the work. As we come to the end of the year, many of us did what we've done for the last few years, last many years for some of us. We sat down and had that long and dreaded sometimes year-end conversation with ourselves. We sat down and had that year-end tough love conversation with ourselves about how we were going to go about making life changes this year that seemed to escape our grasp on last year. We sit down and talk to ourselves about how we're going to accomplish some stuff this year that we failed to accomplish last year, for some of us the year before, and for some of us the year before that. We resolve ultimately to find success in the places where we only found failure the last time. We call it a resolution. We resolved last year to lose weight. We decided we were going to get on a fitness program and get on a diet, an exercise regimen, and get on a diet plan, and we were going to eat better and do better, and that was on January 1st, and by January 3rd, that plan was already tanked and in the trash, waiting for the next year so that we could start all over again. We made plans. We resolved that we would get out of debt this year in ways that we failed to do or didn't manage to do last year, and just a few days later, your favorite shopping place puts everything on sale for half price, and you look and see you got a little bit of money you can spend on your credit card, and your debit card ain't looking as bad as it has been, and before you know it, your plan to get out of debt and to spend more wisely and to be more prudent in your spending has been tanked and is in the trash. We resolved, some of us had relationship goals. Somebody wanted to be married by this time the next year. Somebody just wanted to be a better husband or a better wife. Somebody just wanted to be a better mate, a better friend. And it looks like as soon as you made up your mind you were going to be better and you had some relationship goals, it looks like that also went into the tank. So every year we resolve to do better, and we spend a lot of our time carefully thinking through and meticulously planning to make our resolution. We plan our resolution to the T, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I ain't one of these people who are going to sit here and hate on you about making a New Year's resolution. I don't care if you make it every year and fail. At least you got the courage to get back up and try again. And so I ain't knocking you for making a resolution year after year after year. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is that too many of us make resolutions under the erroneous assumption that life is just going to stand back out of the way and let you do whatever it is that you've resolved to do. I got some news for you, honey. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. For everything that you decide that you're going to do, everything that you decide you're going to do, you better make up your mind you are going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to put in the work, because the reality is this right here. A resolution is only good as long as it stands uncontested and it stands unchallenged. But how many know that as soon as you decide that you're going to do better, there's always somebody ready to step up and challenge it? As soon as you decide I'm going to stop cussing this year, and it look like as soon as you made up your mind you're going to stop cussing, look like somebody did all they can just to get under your skin. You made up your mind, I'm going to try to be a better person this year, and it looked like somebody just determined to bring the worst out of you, because every time you resolve to do something, the reality is that there's somebody or something or some area of life that's going to jump up and challenge and contest your determination to keep your resolution. And the trouble with too many of us in the church is that we want to make resolutions every year, but we ain't prepared to fight. Let me say that again. Many of us want to make resolutions year after year after year, but we are not prepared to fight. Too many Christians want a better life, but we don't want to fight for it. We don't want to fight for it. We just want to run around in the sanctuary and touch 3 people and tell them it's going to be all right. Honey, when you get through touching 3 people and tell them it's going to be all right, you got to do some stuff. You got to put on your fighting clothes. You got to have your mind made up that this thing is not going to come without a struggle and without a fight. If it was that easy, I would have accomplished it last year, but it's not going to come without a struggle and without a fight. And so you got to make up your mind that you are ready to fight for what you want. Too many Christians, we want a better life, but we don't want to fight. old people and tell them change is coming. Honey, change ain't coming unless you're ready to fight for it, because the devil does not give up territory easy. He does not surrender and just back up and let you have your way just because you made a resolution. You got to be ready to fight for it. You got to be ready to fight for your children. I know they get on your nerve and they work your last nerve, but you got to be ready to fight for your children. You got to be ready to fight for your marriage. I know you feel like I've been fighting, and Pastor, you don't know all of what I've been through with him. You don't know all of what I've been through with her. But the bottom line is you're still there. And so the best thing you can do is make up your mind. I'm going to fight for this thing that I've invested my time in. Too many Christians want a better life, but we don't want to fight. And that's one reason why the devil gets the best of so many Christians, is because, see, the devil, because with us, we wake up every single day hoping that we don't have to fight. Well, I just hope everything work out fine. Well, I just hope everything comes together. I'm just hoping and praying that all of it works out. And that's how you wake up every day, hoping and praying you ain't got to fight. But the enemy of your soul, the devil, he never wakes up hoping that he ain't got to fight you. He knows that if he wants to defeat you, he gonna have to come with it. And he wakes up every day and puts his shoes on, knowing that if he wants what you got, he gonna have to fight for it. Knowing that if he wants your peace, he's gonna have to fight for it. Knowing that if he wants your joy, he's gonna have to fight for it. Knowing that if he wants your children, he's gonna have to fight for it. Knowing that if he wants your health, he's gonna have to fight for it. You got to make up your mind, just like the devil wakes up every day knowing that he got to fight me. I got to wake up every day knowing that I got to fight him on every single hand. When he jumps up, I'm gonna fight back. And so too many of us wake up hoping we don't have to fight. And the reality of it is the enemy don't give up territory easy. The enemy doesn't give up territory easy. And I know it's tough. I know it's tough because we don't want to fight. But what are you going to do when you make a resolution and then the devil jumps up and contests your resolution? The devil jumps up and challenges your resolution. What are you going to do when you say, I want to do better this year, and the devil challenges? You got to be ready to fight. What are you going to do this year when you jump up and say that I want to have a better job, or I want to get a better education? The devil going to step up and do all he can to make sure that you don't never get back in school, to make sure that your house ain't never in order. You got to make up your mind you're going to fight, because while you were busy running around the church and touching 3 people and high-fiving 5 folks, telling them everything going to be all right, what did you think the devil was doing while you were running around doing all of that? And a lot of us, and I'm going to move on. A lot of us in the church, the reason why we're not having success in life is because we come to church and we get high, and we run around the sanctuary and we get excited. And God knows, if you know me, you know I ain't against getting excited. I ain't against having a great time in the Lord at church. But when you go home, you got to you got to live a life. You can't come here and get on fire and then be a soldier up in here and be a warrior up in here and then go home and live defeated. And the reason why we leave here, we come here empowered and leave here and go home defeated, is because we think that once we go home, that everything else just going to ease out of the way and let us have our way. And I want you to know that the devil is serious. The devil is not just trying to give you a bad day. The devil is not just trying to give you a hard time. The devil is trying to take your life. I said the devil is not just here to give you a bad day and give you a hard time, but the devil is trying to take your life. See, while we around here playing, and while we around here stunting, and while we around here always, and I wish in 2021 so we can cut out some of these church gimmicks we got going on. We got a gimmick for raising money. We got a gimmick for hustling people out of money. We got a gimmick for getting people to show up. We got a gimmick for everything. Why do we have to do all it? Because here's the trouble. As soon as we get, for every gimmick, the devil has a plan. You gimmicking and playing and stunting, and the devil is steady trying to take your children, and he don't care how much you run around the church as long as your children still joining the games. He don't care how much you run around the church as long as your husband still contemplating leaving. He don't care how much you run around the church as long as your wife still struggling and got issues with you, as long as your home is falling apart. The devil is working out a plan to fight you on every hand. He engages in what's called guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare is warfare that's targeted for a specific audience and for a specific target. And for that specific target, he decides just what he needs to do to get you on the wrong track. Because see, the devil, you can not be real with yourself about who you are, but the devil knows who you really are. He knows your habits, he knows your weakness, he knows your proclivities, he knows where you failed the last time, he knows where you've fallen before, he knows your shortcomings, he knows what you don't like, he knows what you do like, and what he does is he gets himself together and he works out a plan of guerrilla warfare and a plan that's targeted just for you. And so every day he gets up knowing he got to assail you from the air. Guerrilla warfare might assail you from the air. You don't know whether the enemy is coming from the top. Guerrilla warfare will assail you from the ground. You don't know whether they got landmines planted. Guerrilla warfare will assail you in the atmosphere. You don't know if they got chemical and biological weapons they're trying to use. And the devil is running around with all of this stuff at his disposal and getting the best of us and rerun around here tonight. I'm just going to trust in the Lord. Let me tell you something, huh? You better be ready to put in the work. If you want a better life, you got to put in the work. If you want better circumstances, you got to put in the work. If you want better outcomes this year than you had last year, you have got to be ready to put in.
Hi, you've been listening to Pastor Christopher Preston, Rose Hill Missionary Baptist Church, Columbia, Mississippi. You can now give from the convenience of your mobile device. Our online giving is via Cash App, $ Rose Hill 757. Please continue to enjoy the program.
The work. There's a couple of things that the scripture teaches us here about putting in the work. First, it says, be sober. Be sober. Be sober. I'm glad you used that word sober. Because sober is the opposite of drunk. And I know somebody saying, well, Pastor, I'm going to go ahead on and tune out right here. I'm going to slide on down, scroll down, find me another church service because I don't drink. But the reality of it is, here's what I got to let you know, is when he talks about being sober, he compares it to sobriety as most of us know it, but what he's really talking about is being clear-minded. And I know I don't drink, Pastor. I don't drink. Well, maybe you don't drink, but some of us are drunk on animosity. And we need to be sober. Some of us are drunk on resentment because somebody didn't treat us right last year. Somebody are drunk on anger because somebody did something wrong with us. Somebody turned wrong to us last year. Somebody's drunk on frustration with their situation. And you need to be sober. See, a drunk man still has thoughts. They're just not clear thoughts that's going to get him to a good place. He wants to walk straight. He resolves to walk straight. But every time he makes a resolution, the stuff on the inside of him keeps him from walking straight as he needs to walk and getting to where he needs to be. And I'm talking to somebody up in this place today. You resolve to do right, but you're too drunk. You're too drunk on what somebody did to you last year. You're too drunk on I want to get back. You're too drunk on I want to get even. You're too drunk on I ain't going to put up with this. You're too drunk on if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to get it back. Some of us need to sober up because when you are drunk, you can't walk like you want to walk. You can't talk like you want to talk. A drunk man wants to talk right, but his speech is slurred. He wants to walk right, but he's staggering, not because he's the worst person in the world, but the stuff that he's drunk on the inside is influencing the way that he walks on the outside. Somebody needs to sober up. Sober up. You need some sobriety. You need some sobriety. You need to wake up. You need to get out from under the influence of whatever you want. I'm under the influence of he didn't do right by me. You drunk. I'm under the influence of she's supposed to treat me better than I thought me and her were friends. You drunk. I'm under the influence, we're under the influence of, but I never thought my children would do that to me. And if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to make sure I pay them back. Let me tell you something. You're drunk. You need to sober up. And here's the reason why you cannot afford to be drunk. Because a drunk man can't defend himself. And a drunk man can't defend himself. And a drunk person who's not sober, who's drunk on animosity, drunk on resentment, drunk on frustration, drunk on hate, drunk on pain, drunk on envy, drunk on jealousy. A person like that, you can't fight nobody when you drunk like that. You falling all over the place and life just having its way with you. The devil don't drink. When he comes to you, he's got all of his angels. He's got all of his demons waiting to deal with you. He brings everything that he has, and you show up to the fight drunk. The Bible says, sober up. Sober up. Sober up. Don't be like a drunk man. He want to do the right thing, but he can't. I know somebody wasted your time last year, but tell them I'm sober now. When they ring your phone, tell them I know I used to answer every time you call, but I'm sober now. When they send you that text, say, good morning, beautiful. Tell them that worked last year. I'm sober now. When they send you a text and say, how about another chance? Tell them, that worked last year. I'm sober now. When a friend inboxed you on Facebook and said, let's try to give it another run and put all that stuff behind us. And you know that person ain't changed because they done the same thing before. Let me tell you, you got to look them in their face and say, honey, I was drunk then, but I'm sober now. Somebody needs to sober up. The Bible says, sober up, because the devil, your enemy, is looking as like a roaring lion, walking around seeking whom he may devour. Whom he may devour. I'm going to wrap this thing on up here in just a few minutes. He's seeking whom he can devour. The fact that the Bible says he's seeking whom he can devour suggests to me that it ain't equally possible for him to devour everybody at will. That says that there's some he can devour easily, and there's some that's going to fight. There's some he can upset easily. There's some who going to fight. There's some who going to get shook up easily, and there's some who going to fight. I don't know about you, but I want to be counted among those who going to fight. I want to be counted among those who going to put in the work. I want the devil to know you might come at me, and ain't nothing I can do about it, but you're going to have a fight on your hand if you come out. Well, you got to learn that the enemy can't get everybody, but at some point you got to stop being the weakest link. Anybody that knows me knows that I like watching Discovery Channel and watching wild channels about animals in the wild, and I love watching lions and hyenas, and I love all the blood and all the gore that goes into capturing something to eat, and I love to see them take down animals. And what I noticed from watching the way lions attack over the years is what lions would do. That's why the Bible usually says the devil will acts as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may destroy. Lions will often come upon a herd of buffalo or a herd of wildebeest, and they don't know who's the weakest link. They don't know who's going to be the easiest to get. So what they do is what they call a mock charge. That's where they just fake and make a break for the herd to see who's going to be slow, to see who's going to be timid, to see who's not going to be listening, to see who's not going to be paying attention, to see who's not going to be who's going to be unaware, to see who's going to be weak, to see who's going to be feeble, to see who has a limp, to see who seems to move slower than the rest of the herd. So they do a mock charge to see who's going to be the weakest link. And then as soon as they identify one as the weakest link, then all of a sudden they do the real charge where they run, and they will run by one animal standing still because they are so determined to get to the one that they picked out to destroy. And what I'm trying to let you know today is you got to, this time out, you stop being the weakest link. When the devil marks and does a mock charge and run your way, you got to let it know, run up, but you just might get done up, because I'm going to be praying and I'm going to be throwing holy oil everywhere. I'm going to be talking to my God. You come up here if you want to. You can mark charge, but you ain't going to find me the weakest link. Too many Christians up here, you the first to run, the first to cry, the first to go sit in the corner, the first to quit going to church, the first to get mad at everybody. You got to learn to stand up. Let the devil know I ain't the weakest link. I might have been once before, but I ain't the weakest link. I'm sober now. You got to, he said, resist that devil. Steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished also in your brothers that are in the world. He said, resist the devil. He said, resist the devil. That means to don't chase him, but don't run from him. When he said resist the devil, that means don't chase him, but don't run from him. Just resist. Everything he does, oppose it. When he tries to make you pick up the phone and call somebody that you know you shouldn't be calling, oppose it. If you want a better life than this year you had last year, here's what you got to do. When he tried to make you get mad at people that used to make you mad before, oppose it. When he tried to get you upset, when he tried to let your insecurities kick in and mess up your relationship, oppose it. When the devil steps up and tries to cause your frustration with people and cause you to have bad relationships after bad relationships, bad friendships after bad friendships, that's opposing. In other words, it's a revolt against the devil. You got to make up your mind. If my resolution is going to come to pass this year, I'm going to have to resolve to fight. I'm going to have to resolve to stand up. I'm going to have to resolve to scratch. I'm going to have to resolve to claw sometimes. Because whatever it takes to get where I'm going, I got to do it. He said, resist the devil. That means stand fast. Don't chase him down, but don't run from him. Just resist the devil. devil. What is your plan for resistance? What's your plan for living better? What's your plan for giving more? What's your plan for having more integrity, just being a better person this year than you were last year? What's your plan? I'm not talking about what your words are, what your plan for getting along with other people. What's your plan for getting along with other people? Because the reality of it is you're going to have to be ready to fight for whatever it is that you're trying to do. No revolution has ever occurred without a fight. And you can't go into this next year without being prepared to fight. Because if you go into this year prepared to fight, or not prepared to fight, you ultimately going to have to fail. Because the reality of it is this right here, you're going to have to be ready to put it to work. And I want to know today, as we come to the close of this year and we step now into a new year, how much work are you ready to put in? Are you going to just keep talking about doing better? Or are you going to put it to work? Are you going to make the life changes that need to be made? Or are you going to put it up? Or are you just going to keep talking about it? Are you going to put in the work to be a better spouse, a better husband? Or are you just going to keep talking about it? You going to put in the work to be a better wife? Or are you just going to keep talking about it? You going to actually put in the work to go to school instead of saying, I need to get back in school? Or you going to actually go and call and get them to send you the application so you can get back in school? Or you just going to keep talking about it? Or you going to put in the work to go ahead and start the business? Go ahead and get your family ID number and your state tax ID number and go ahead and name your business and do a business name search and do all that kind of stuff. And you going to do that, or you going to just keep talking about what you need to do? Because the reality of it is as long as you run around the church, coming down here on Sunday getting high and going back home and living defeated, the devil don't care nothing about you going to church. He don't care nothing about you going to church. But oh my, something happens when you make up your mind, I'm going to leave church. And when I leave here, I ain't going out here to lay down. I ain't going out here to fight. I'm not going here to lay down, but I come out here to fight. The last time you came upon me, I was a sheep. But this time, I'm a lion, because I know that every single day, I got to get up and I got to fight for everything that I want. You got to be willing to fight the devil to the extent that he knows when he runs up on you, he done ran up on the wrong one. Every now and then, and I'm done, every now and then, even the baddest lion will run up on a buffalo that's determined he ain't going down without a fight. He ain't going down without a fight. How many today got your mind made up? I'm not going down without